something to drink real quick, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Boisty.
Then I will go live on Twitch.
That will give me time to transfer over all the data I didn't.
I fucking have a list here of things that I want to get again.
I only really have 2, I think.
And happy 20th episode, everybody. Or session.
Let's go!
Sweet.
20 weeks, so it's been 2 months.
It's been a little bit more than that, but
A little bit more than that. I mean, 5 months, I think.
I'm not good at
actually.
math.
There were some days we didn't.
More or less. More or less.
Anyway, I'm gonna go get a drink. Well, that's happening as well.
Are you telling me I gotta rebuild my whole ass character?
Was Jay gonna make it today?
Yeah, honey, you're getting ready to boot up?
What?
Oh, yeah, she's here.
Yeah, I've been here.
Jay, not
Oh,
Jamal.
Jade. He's, I think he's out and about with his family at the moment.
Okay. Also, hi Cassidy. There's your smooch. Sorry, someone redeemed a smooch on stream.
Alrighty. Well, smooches all around. But yeah, congratulations. We've made it 20 friggin' sessions. In game time, it's actually been like about a month and a half, actually, since you guys pulled off that heist in Harham.
Let's go.
So, like in game time, a crap load has happened in a relatively short span. It's only been like 6 weeks in game time. Okay, so are we otherwise positioned for recap?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sit down. All right, so last session we had a whole bunch of in-game chaos, as there were essentially 2 or 3, depending on how you want to really count it, encounters. The Serpent Folk dungeon complex cave system doodad thing that they've got here. You guys found your way into an area that had a forge, as well as a whole bunch of pieces of clothing and equipment and things like that, which is obviously where the snake folk manufacture like the physical objects that they need to do their hootenanny. There was stuff for weapons forging, armor forging. They had a couple of sets of armor. They had multiple sets of clothing. There were some weapons. There was some other little gear, that stuff in there. There was also some snake dudes, and they tried to put up a fight, but essentially there was a bottleneck of death right at the front hall, where everybody got like hella murdered before the party went in and investigated that area. After a run around and picking up a couple of bits and pieces that people wanted, you guys then moved into the part of the cave which was originally hidden by a illusory, which is still there. The illusory wall is still there, so it's not like it's gone, but y'all moved into that section, and there was a door that opened up while you guys were looking around. That door leads into this back section of the location, which beyond this one room you guys have not explored any. There was a big old table in here that is loaded up with a whole bunch of papers, and there was a human skull that was being used as a paperweight and everything. There's a multiple lit braziers in the corners. There is a statue bust of Umber in the north wall over there. And that's where you guys had the encounter with a couple of floating severed heads, one of them also being on fire. That was that was very gross and dangerous. Gloria was not happy with that. Gloria was very, very not cool with the floaty heads. But inside of this room, though, there were some more snake dudes, and there was first of all, it was snake dudes, and one of those snake dudes was the guy with the velvet mask. So you guys found him. His name was Jeb, or at least that's what everybody called him. Jeb, being the smart snake person that he was, the moment he saw that that combat was not going to go in his favor, he just gave up and and essentially just laid down on the floor and let you guys stand on his throat.
I guess I'll die.
Hoping that he would get out of there alive because for some reason you guys wanted him alive. That reason being that Callie had some very pointed questions, which eventually she did learn from him that several years ago he had contact with an organization which was called the Bleak Reef. The Bleak Reef is apparently some sort of like old Azurketi organization, and they do employ or did employ some sort of like shapeshifters, or at least people that can disguise themselves and look like other people, kind of like the snake folk can. And he didn't have too much like information like beyond that, but at least Callie's got like a name and knows that it exists. Beyond that, though, before really much any more could really come out of that, out comes the poacher. And Mick Leach, the poacher, excuse me, he's got Torque under his arm. She is breathing, but she's obviously taken like some smackers. And June, seeing Torque in like alive, but like not in great condition, just immediately gets all up in McLeach's grill, pulled off a critical, pulled off a near second critical, and then like shot him in the face with a magic bullet, like all over it again. I actually looked back over the logs from it, and June did the single most damage to him on your side of the board.
Let's go.
There was one other character that did slightly more damage by literally 2 points to McLeach, but that comes a bit later. So there was a bit of a fight with McLeach. He was not a pushover, as he took all of that from June, dropped Torque, tried to rip one of June's arms off effectively, and then just like slammed her into the table and used her like a wet rag to wipe everything off the table. It was not great for June. But there was a lot of spells or a lot of like throwing around stuff. McLeach was taking damage and he was going down, but because he is a troll, he was also like mad healing a lot of that damage at the same fucking time. But then there was a blom noise as a portal somewhere else in the complex here opened up, and fucking Umber, the Lamia leader, actually showed up, and she was immediately pissed off, and she was immediately focused on McLeach, who she called a interloper and an outsider, and then she basically shut everybody down with her aura that slows down like your perception of time and movement and everything. She slithered over to McLeach, and then she lopped off his damn head, turning him to stone all in one go. After doing that, she grabbed Jeb, and she was about to do the same thing to Jeb before Callie pointed out she still needed like some more information from him. That information that he gave out was wrestled from him, and then eventually he was turned to stone and just shattered because he was no longer important. Umber then decided to not fight the party. She had some conversation with you guys. She was very pissed off that her her snake minions, basically, had gone against her orders, that she had actually called them off of the hunt for you guys and was having them go after something else. But they chose to ignore that. They hired outside help in McLeach, and she was kind of all pissed off about all of that. Otherwise, she basically picked up the papers that like McLeach had wiped off of the table using June's face. And after putting that back on there, she had again a little bit of conversation with you guys. Essentially confirmed that like the that her and the snake people have at best like a transactional relationship, and she's getting kind of pissed off with them not staying on the leash when she fucking needs them to. And kind of in a huff, she like spun around, told you guys to like get the fuck out of her house, and then like slithered through the door and like slammed it shut. So whatever's on the other side of that door, nobody has seen, because Umber came out of it, McLeach came out of it, and then Umber went back into it. So presumably she's on the other side of that door somewhere. Torque, just to be clear, is awake. She got woken up after getting dropped by McLeach, so she was awake in time to like see June just unload with ladyfingers like directly into his face. So she was there for the rest of that battle, but she was essentially struggling with her bonds to get out. She is now at the moment being effectively like cradled by Gloria, who is holding her while she is trying to wrestle her way out of her. So as we come in here, let me zoom into where you guys are actually at on the map for myself. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I think
So-
currently Tim, Jamal, and who else was like basically running for it? Like they ran for the hills the second Umber showed up.
Yeah,
I was. I
yeah,
was.
yeah. Laria ran forward, and at the moment, like Laria's in
I
the
had to
dark by
ran
herself.
out. I had to run
Yeah.
out to heal myself.
Yeah, she had to run out. Tim and Brick are in the outer like cavern area just outside the door. Everyone else though is in the room. So like Laria and Tim wouldn't have heard too much of the last part of the conversation with Umber. But everybody else certainly did, and certainly can like debate and talk about whatever is the fuck going on there. So let's kind of just pick up essentially right where we fucking left off. Now that there's been like 30 seconds of you guys are not like trying to, something isn't trying to kill you or explode in you or something like that. Torque does finally manage to like wrestle her way out of her bindings and pulls out the gag that's been tied up in her mouth, and she kind of like pats Gloria on the shoulder so that Gloria will put her down. And so Gloria puts her down, and Torque's first action is to immediately step over and like throw her arms around June and just hug her tight.
Yeah, I was about to say like well, I guess what happens like they both turn like to each other, like just instantly it's like run and hug each other. Then
Yeah,
like it's reciprocated.
She is very much like she hugs like, you know, with the usual strength that you get from Torque, but it is also immediately apparent though that she's not doing really great. She has not had good rest. She's obviously been bound for a while, so she's not like super strong. So like after, you know, like a good strong hug, she looks June in the face. She says, "Thank you," and then she kisses June like she fucking means it.
And
Gives her like
June-
gives her like the deep tongue.
Well, June kisses back like she a little surprised at the tongue,
Better hang up
but
that
doesn't
computer.
complain. But and she breaks off from the kiss and with tears in her eyes and just says, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And like just touches foreheads and is just like bawling her eyes out. You know, she's probably got like a bruise forming on her face when she got punched in it by McLeach. She's just a mess.
Torque is obviously not much better, but she gently like presses her forehead back up to June's, and and she says, kind of quietly, like, it wasn't your fault. It's not your fault. It's okay. Don't tear yourself up. I'm alive. I've got all my bits and pieces, other than being sore and hungry, and I really, really, really need a bath. I'm okay. I'm okay. I've dealt with. Well, I haven't really dealt with this sort of stuff before, but I've dealt with stuff that's kind of similar. So we'll get through it. I'm just glad that you're okay. And then she kind of pauses and like looks over at the rest of the party and speaks up slightly, like a little louder, a little stronger, and she's like, "I'm glad you guys are here too, but no kisses."
Understood.
And then she is going to kind of like sort of like weakly step over, like sit down in one of the chairs that's by the table, and she just kind of like sinks into it. But she does look at at everybody else in the party, and she's like, "Okay, Look, honestly, I don't actually know everything that's going on here. That guy was a terrible host, to say the absolute least. But hey, like, at least his pants stayed on the whole time. How did you guys find me down here?
Well, Tim was the one that first went after you. We sort of followed his trail, though we had a good guess that the cave was where they took you. She kind of like looks around for a second, like, wait, where is Tim?
It was like
Stand right
leaned
next to
against.
him.
Tim's like leaned against the stone, and he's kind of gone like. He looks shut off, but he's not turned off. He's just like sitting motionless for like a good 5 or 6 minutes. While this whole
He's gonna come
conversation is
back-
going down.
He's going to come back and explain why he left it.
Tim's in standby mode.
Tim's downloading some updates.
Well,
Oh yeah, Larry would like to.
Tim eventually like sits back up. Tim eventually sits back up and like straightens himself. He walks less like jaunty than he did, and it's now become more robotic. Like he's walking better. He eventually walks over and he's like, "Yeah, after I took the strike on the back of my head, I figured the least I could do was make sure that no one else got hurt. And so I figured I'd follow some of the bitches down this hole and see if I could do my very best to make sure that you made it home safe."
well, Tim, thanks. Really. When they came in, I had no idea that it was a bunch of serpent folk. Like it looked like all my neighbors. And I remember that like I was helping Sirhan to like change some of his bandages, and then she kind of pauses for a moment, and you see her eyes go kind of wide, and she looks up and June, and she's like, "Is Sirhan okay? Did he live?"
June nods.
Oh, okay. Thank the gods. Okay. But
We had to take him to the doctor though. So.
you took him to Doc Button. Okay. She can take care of that. I'll have to make sure to like bake her a cake or something. Whew. So Sir Han's alive. Good. I turned around. Everybody had come in. I do remember thinking that it was a little weird that they weren't talking a lot. You know, like now that I think about it, like I think that really should have like set off, you know, an alarm in my head or something. But the only one who said anything was the one who was disguised as Tastrum, and he just, you know, like Tastrum normally does, he just sort of asked me how I was doing and how things were going, and he did ask what the rest of you were up to, and I was just starting to explain that you're out down at the marsh to deal with the snail, and then I heard a loud clanging noise, which maybe that was Tim hitting the ground. And then before I could even fully turn around, there was a black bag over my head, and the rest of it was just, it was so fast, and bound, and before I could really get anything moving, like I was trying to go for I had a knife that I usually keep in my boot, and I was trying to get to it so I could, you know, get free, and if I could see somebody, I could maybe like hit them with some magic or something and get away. But then there was just the ground shakes like it does when Gloria does jumping jacks, and I guess that's when the big guy picked me up, and she kind of looks across the table at the headless statue of Nick Leach, and then she looks at his like big fat ugly stone head that's like, you know, laying on its side there on the table. And she's like, I'm really glad he's dead. But like, I remember getting yanked into the air, and he grabbed my foot, and he grabbed the knife that I keep there, and he pulled it out, he threw it away, and then like I remember we started moving, and I was trying to raise my voice to like hopefully, you know, alert somebody of what was going on, and that's when he grabbed me by the throat, and after that I kind of just I blacked out. To be honest, I thought I was going to die right then and there. I woke up again, I don't know how long later, but the air was a lot colder and damp, and I could tell we were underground, but that was about it. And then we got wherever the hell we are now, and they put me in a room that was like crawling with bugs, like crickets of some sort, and like it smelled really bad in there, and every time I tried to move, it would set all the crickets off, and they would like jump on me, and it was it was not fun. But I wasn't there long. I don't know how much time passed, but eventually McLeach came back and he picked me up and he took the bag off of my head, and then he forced the gag into my mouth, and then he just sort of like carried me around like a backpack for a little while, and then I remember hearing gunshots and loud bangs, and I remember him he was holding me in one hand, and he was dangling me out over the water in the cave somewhere, and he looked like he was about to like say something to me, but then like the noise started, and that's when he I remember him saying that to like his big pet lizard thing, to like that it was time to hunt, and then he kind of like flicked me in the forehead hard enough that I saw stars, and well, the next thing I know about is I'm getting dropped on the ground, and I roll over to look up, and I see that he's holding June, and June puts a gun to his face and just pulled the trigger. And then like all of that shit happened, and then there was a big giant like lamia that came through the door and cut his fucking head off. I don't know what the hell is going on, and I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to be free. I'm with friends, and I don't know anything past that.
June comes around from the back of the chair and like wraps an arm around like her, like, you know, like just like hugging her from behind.
I will be okay. I will be okay. It's just going to take a little time to process all of this. Where are we?
We're in a shrine-based thing. Well, it's a shrine to the... Which goddess was it?
The god in question is the
Elf god.
It was it. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, it was the elf. Yeah, the elf god.
Yeah, it was the elf god, dark elf god, Fandalarlela or something.
Just say
Vandal.
it's the shrine to the dark elf god, or whatever.
Yeah.
Allie's kind of like leaning off Mr. Service with like Vic Leach's severed fucking petrified head in her lap or whatever.
Yeah. Fandalar. Okay. But yeah, Gloria pokes up that it's the spooky, the spooky place that is off from the Mushroom Road down to Chamomile. And Torque just kind of like nods at that. Let me put a big old fat X here on this guy. I'm just gonna move these guys off of the map. They're still here, obviously. I'm just moving them so that we got space to move around and not have to worry about fucking them over. Okay, so let me just grab all of those. Okay, but after Torque hears, where you guys are currently located at, she does look around and she's like, I think I've seen that place from the outside, and it certainly didn't look like this on the inside, but there was like a couple of years ago.
There's a couple of visible walls here and there. They're
Oh.
much bigger on the inside.
Oh, fucking snake people. And then she kind of like looks back up at June over her shoulder, and she reaches back to like sort of like hug, but as she does, she looks at Umber's like bust, which is looming right there behind June.
Oh yeah, I wasn't intending on that, but yeah, that's kind of funny.
And she looks at that, and then she like looks at back at June, and she says, kind of quietly, "Of what the fuck is up with the big Lamia lady? What was that all about?"
I'm gonna roll for deception.
Okay.
Actually, I need to open up my
I think Callie might just.
like just to.
Actually, the way that this would go, are you lying to Torque? Is that the action that June is taking?
Yeah, I was gonna roll to see like how badly I did, but you're right. It's the other way around. Like they have to. It's my.
Yeah. So
I have the
so,
DC and they have to beat it. So.
Yeah. So what is June's deception DC?
Her deception DC is gonna be a 19. But as far as like what she does is she kind of has that like expression, like she knew this question was coming, but like was hoping it wouldn't come up. But she says that Lamia was the one we ran into way back at Harham, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I feel like Callie would ask her why she would know so much about that.
Oh, what was that? I couldn't hear.
I said, I think Callie would ask her why she knew so much about the Lamia, like why she knew she was coming, and she knew her name as well.
Well, I was bluffing on that, but turns out that I was more right than I thought. To answer that question, though, I do have to come clean on a few things, and like she kind of like leans slightly to the the. Hold on, how do I do it? Is it control? Yeah. No. Is it alt? Ah, dang it. I don't know how to do controls with tokens. She looks to like kind of addressing the rest of the party, and I have a little bit to confess. That night we were attacked by the snake people, and I stuck my head down that hole and I saw the Lamia. Ever since that night, she's been appearing in my dreams. At first, she was very pissed off at us, but I managed to talk with her and explain that us being there was an accident and we weren't intentionally causing a ruckus with her. It took a bit of convincing, but I managed to talk her down from sending snakes after us to ignoring us. And that's why, at least they were supposed to, leave us alone. But when the snakes still attacked us, I let her know, and she was upset at them because they were disobeying her orders. And
Jesus.
Callie kind of like, it's like squints her eyes, like,
If anyone would like to, you may make a perception check against June's deception DC, which is DC 19. Is that correct?
yes, it was DC 19. So if she's lying about anything, and you can pick that up if you. Oh, Okay, I think it's kind of funny that her girlfriend just like immediately knows she's lying with that nat 20.
I'm gonna ask June to also immediately make a perception check against Torque's deception DC.
What's
Oh.
Everybody immediately sussed her out.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
perception? Okay.
You know what? No, hold on.
Callie was always kind of like suspicious.
Okay,
of
19
that,
plus 10, that's a 29.
Suspicious of it.
You know what? For shenanigans, Syrup, I wanna see you use Mr. Servo's perception check.
Sure,
Just
why not? Hold on, let me pull up this thing.
Hey,
Okay, okay.
Dr.
Well,
Trimmer is currently open at the moment.
Yeah,
Go.
Mr. Servos.
Mr.
beep.
Servos doesn't know. Beep boop. Beep boop. I do not
no
understand
lie
human
detected.
perception. Yeah.
Okay.
Where's the lie? But yeah.
So for
I mean, like you
everybody,
see.
go ahead,
For
go ahead.
well, June specifically, you see that there's a very like narrowing, furrowing of like Torque's brow as she's like listening to you, and you can quite clearly tell that she's like she knows that there's something June isn't saying, but she is trying to maintain like a neutral face to just let June spool it out. But yeah, she just gives like a little like there's just a hint of like like a little bit of a squint of like but otherwise though
Yeah,
Torque is reserving judgment.
Mhm. Yeah, but for everybody else except Mr. Servos, you get the fact that June is giving you the truth, but not all the truth. She is definitely holding back on certain details. So so that's what that's the vibe we're getting, and that's balls back in your court if you want to talk or do anything about that.
I feel like Callie would be the first to speak out. Be like, "Are you telling us the full truth?" Because like, no lies. I don't want no lies. I'm hard enough with this fucking marauder bullshit and having to deal with all these people pretending to be other people.
I'm not a snake, if that's what you're asking. And no, I'm not
no,
lying.
I'm asking. I'm asking if I can trust you that this is the full truth and that you aren't just holding back everything.
She kind of like looks like she's about to say something and then stops, and then she like it's like that like little brief pause, but like she just keeps going, but like it's noticeable. She says, "I'm not lying when I say that these snakes were supposed to leave us alone. They were supposed to return to Umber and do whatever the fuck they were originally supposed to do, but instead they decided to fuck around and keep antagonizing us. And they fucking found out." But yeah, that is June is like pretty, like like assertive on that part.
My
Like
bad.
she had nothing to do with that. They were supposed to not attack us anymore. Alright. Shadows Mind Gang, Tim, Gloria, anybody else want to say anything?
Torque, again, she kind of like narrows her eyes as she's kind of like looking at June, and then you see her features kind of like smooth out into a positive sort of like look on her face, and Torque says, "I believe you with that. I know because, well, I even advised you when you first told me about the encounter with the Lamia in the tunnels under Harham, that they've got weird magics and they can they can pull off some freaky stuff with your mind and things. So it makes sense actually that, like, you know, she reach out to you after, you know, you made eye contact, and you know, just sends you a message to let you know things. And I believe you, June, when you say that, like, they were not supposed to keep doing this, that this was something that they did on their own outside of the decision. I like, hell, just the way that what's her name, Umber, picked up that last snake guy and, like, absolutely crushed him. If he had testicles, I think she probably would have ripped them off. She was that kind of mad. So, like, she was pissed off. She was angry at these guys, and these guys are just, like, supposed to be her minions or something. So, leave you there. I don't think that is a lie. I will be honest with you, June. I think that there's probably details that you're keeping to yourself, and I bet most of those details are probably harmless. You know, we're talking like freaky mind shit. She may have, like, dug into your memories and things like that, and that's, well, that's between you and her, really. But, like, can you promise me, June, that if she keeps, like, contacting you or bothering you or something like that, will you let me know? I'm not as skilled as that Lamia probably is when it comes to, like, magic and especially magic that affects the mind, but I know some tricks. I know some things that can help protect you from curses and things like that. And I would like to offer that to you if you know, don't want her to, you know, to go through your mind like a library that she can just borrow books from whenever she wants.
Can Torque do another perception check?
Torque can do another perception check.
If anyone else wants to, too. Nat 20.
Why not?
Tim's doing something else. We'll deal with that later.
Or mod 20. June, kind of like this, like, conflicted look, like, she, like, you know, Torque is offering her, like, hey, I can, you know, like, block her out of your mind, and June's just like, do you have to, though? You know, like, she...
I will tell you personal rule.
like that's the vibe, you know, like...
Torque, Torque, for her part,
Mm-hmm.
She, like, she looks hopeful, and she looks like a little, like, crestfallen when, like, June doesn't, like, jump at the offer, but like, you see, you know, resolve kind of, like, settle into her, and Torque says, well, if you do need any help with that, I am here, and I am more than willing to help with. I'll take I'll take a trip into town even and pick up the research material to, you know, see if I can't learn a couple of new tricks.
June just, like, immediately stops her and hugs her and says, "You're fine the way you are already. I'm fine.
Okay, and yeah.
And she,
Okay.
like she, like kind of strokes her back a bit and says, "If anything, I am the one keeping an eye out for you."
I'm glad, honestly, June, that you're here to do that. I like to pride myself that I have the ability to take care of myself. My my dad and the other gauchos would be like giving me some like bombastic side eye right about now if they saw me in this state.
Hey, don't
But-
sweat it. I mean, even I went at that Trollsch with everything I had, and it seemed to barely scratch him. I don't think they'd give you too hard of a. I don't think they'd give you too much trouble. And she kind of looks. June kind of glances back at everyone else in the room. She's like, I'm glad that I had backup with me to help rescue you.
I'm glad that you had that too. And she, she looks at everybody else, and then she looks over at Gloria, and she says something in Orcish to Gloria, and Gloria, who has just been kind of like squatting, sort of like sitting over there in the corner this whole time. Like, she's been observant, but she's very much in the whole like she doesn't want to touch anything or get close to the like statues of the dead guys. But she mumbles something back in Orcish to Torque, and then Gloria does get up, and she's like, "Pardon me, excuse me," and she steps back out into the like cave area over here. But then Torque looks back up at June, and she says, "Well, what's done is done. Gloria's a bit shaky, but she's a lot tougher than she comes off as sometimes."
You should have seen her. She was the one that slayed that ugly monster in the swamp all by herself. We didn't even get a chance.
Did she?
We didn't even get a chance to fight it before she ran up and sucked it right in the face.
Wow. It's like, Gloria's a sweetie pie. She's not a violent person by any means, but when she does, when her dander gets up, she comes down like an avalanche. So like, I'm not surprised by that, but it was probably honestly the fact that you guys were there with her that gave her the strength to be able to do that. I mean, you can see how she's kind of barely holding it together right now. But what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Because if we're deep down the Mushroom Road, it's going to be a hell of a walk back up to camp, and it's still going to be a good jog over to Vault Chamomile if we go that way. This place is creepy and weird, and it smells bad.
Yeah, I don't want to be around here much longer than I need to.
Never went over to Vault Chamomile. I got a bounty. I got a bounty to cash in. She like holds up the head that's still like sitting in her lap.
I think I would honestly like to watch you turn in his stone head to the Dark Elves.
I mean, are they gonna take it if it's stone? Would they maybe think like we just made a convincing statue?
I'm
sure
maybe.
there's a way to turn it back. Maybe, I don't know.
If we bring
maybe
the head
there's
of
probably a way to
bring the
identify
head
it
of the
somehow.
animal, will that help with our case?
Mm, who knows? I don't know if
Yeah,
I don't know if his
maybe
pets have a bounty on them.
Well, maybe his pet would be a signifying thing.
It would
Does
at
he have
least show
any-
that we.
anything like a pendant or something hanging from his statue that we could take as well, maybe potentially.
Let me see here. Mick Leach has. Well, I can tell you he doesn't have an ID on.
I would assume so.
State
yeah.
driver's
he's-
license.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have a driver's
really
license.
bad photo
on.
on it.
Boatmobile license.
He has in like you break off like one of the like stone pockets essentially to be like what's in your pockets and in the in one of those stone pockets you find what falls out is a bunch of kibble, like pet food kibble, and mixed in with the kibble there is a little metal plate that has symbols stamped on it. Does anybody speak Jotun?
Jotun. I think that might have been Gloria's thing.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, Gloria would actually speak, but it's got Jotun symbols stamped on it.
You know what?
Is it Jotun or Jotun?
I think it's Jotun.
I didn't even
Jotun.
know
It's-
Gloria was right
It's
there.
Jotun.
Yeah, Jotun.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
my bad.
Jotun.
It's.
I didn't mean to.
based
I didn't mean to
off of,
correct you.
Because isn't it based off of the Jotunheim, like
Yes.
giants
Yeah.
and like fucking Norse mythology or whatever?
Yeah, Jotun or Jotun, either way is I'm going to consider either of them correct. But yeah, I believe it's like I believe the actual pronunciation is a Jotun. But yeah, there is a little metal plate. Essentially, you're like looking like like a dog tag that has Jotun symbols stamped into it, as well as like some stale pet kibble that was in one of
You
his
telling
pockets.
me you don't need a hunting license to be a bounty hunter?
Maybe that's something I can identify him.
Well, I mean,
It
he is specifically an illegal poacher.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
named
right.
Poacher.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
that's
poach-
also
got
hence,
my
that's
poaching
also
license
hence
here.
why he has a. It's also why he has a bounty.
Does Joanna have like
Mm.
a dog tag that we could take as well? Be like, yeah, we killed his dog.
She does have a collar that has like a
Alright.
clip on it that would fit this little metal plate, but at the moment they're not connected.
Go get it, Tim. Go get the collar.
Oh, Tim on his way has ripped out a couple of her teeth and then just ripped the collar off its neck.
Hopefully that's enough proof. Otherwise,
You guys go ahead and do that and watch Torque for a second. There's something I guess I should do before we leave. And she goes to the door that Umber just walked into, if she's so, and looks back and she tries to give like a bit more like a reassuring like smile, like everything's all right, nothing bad, and just got to make sure that no more snakes are gonna come back to bite us.
Before you walk out, Tim walks over and just hands you an explosive piece of ammunition he has.
She nods
Protection.
and
Is it for
she loads
her
it
or for herself?
she loads it into Ladyfingers.
For anything that is needed.
All right, if anything goes south, at least you'll be able to hear this and come rescue me. And
yeah.
Of course.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Torque gives you like a fearful like thumbs up, but like okay.
and
Probably hears everything we're saying anyway, so like I don't know why we're announcing it.
yeah, she opens the door, and
All
she
right.
can't see shit.
You've got hallway that branches off immediately to the north and south.
Do I see like any indication where the snake lady might have gone? Nope.
You don't see her at the moment. Actually, do make a perception check.
Okie dokie.
While this is happening, would this have taken 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's passed.
Over in the corner, Tim just like rotates a cuff at the base of his elbow, and his like arm plate pops open. It's got the little signia on it, Viva Machina, and he tries to start installing the Dragon's Breath pistol in there for his integrated armament.
Okay.
Can I say that I, in this 10 minutes, was turning Dr. Tremors into a tattoo?
Yes.
And then
We can go ahead and say you pop him out of his cell, Mr. Servos, and
Oh,
tell him to take tattoo form.
I see a locked door.
Yep, there is a locked door down that hallway.
he doesn't got us.
All right, and there was some minor healing potion passed out by Laria.
I think she says that is she passing out the potion, or she passed out with the potion?
Passed
She
out.
passed out.
Oh, she passed out. Okay.
Yeah.
Ran away.
The mushroom is all
Puckered
schnarled.
out.
Okay, so yeah, June, there's a lock.
Uh-oh.
Do I have a lockpick on me? Let's see, like
I believe you
thieves
have
tools.
thieves tools.
Thieves tools. Let's see.
Yeah, I think you've got the infiltrator.
Yeah,
thieves.
thieves tools. All right. She's gonna try and unlock this thing. Would it be thievery?
All right. It is thievery. Yes.
Dirty 20.
You'll need that's one success. You need 2 successes.
All right.
Some?
Double or nothing.
Bam. All right. That unlocks the door.
Open the door.
All right.
It is a room.
In this room, this small-ish room. Let me see here. Where is the? Hold on. I gotta get the room descriptions. Okay. This room. This is room number 13. Okay, so room 13. Scroll down to 13. Okay, so this room, you can see that this room has a bunch of alchemical stuff in it.
Yeah.
You can see that there is a mask, like a face mask, in here. That's the sort of like, plague doctor kind of like face mask, with like some really fucking fancy goggles built into it and everything. There are a shitload of vials on multiple shelves. Everything in here looks like it's probably either going to explode or poisonous.
Not a
Fancy
portal.
goggles.
She just like
Good enough.
she goes around this way. Might want to tell Kelly about that room. Oh, there's a door over here.
Say fancy goggles.
What's
All
behind?
right, another door.
Right, there we go. Open it.
Try it.
All right. This room, as you peek into here, as you open the door and you shine in your light is picked up by the shiny carapace of thousands upon thousands of camel crickets that are covering every inch of the floor.
Immediately close door and lock
There is
it,
a-
like slam it shut.
There's also a pit in the room, but okay.
Yeah, not fucking
Crickets.
with those. Oh, glowy. Oh, there's Snake Lady.
Yep, there she is. So you come around the corner, and you see the Lamia, Umber. She is, at the moment, as you like come around the corner, like one of her snake head, hair snakes thing, is like it just immediately like turns in June's direction, slowly followed by the rest of the snakes, and then her actual like face turns to like look at you as she's like leaning up against the wall with her arms crossed. it is hard to tell, obviously, with her the way that her face is built. But she looks angry and upset, and like the tip of her tail is like rapidly tap on the floor, like she's tapping her toes. And she looks at June, and she kind of like raises one eye ridge, and she says, "I wanted you to let me know when you left. Did the other ones leave? Are you here by yourself now?"
I am here by myself. The others are on their way out. I was...
Oh, thank God. This is a shit show. Look, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at these fuckers. And, well, myself. Wait a minute. Why are you still here, actually?
I just wanted to... I guess I wanted to talk to you in person while I had the chance. She kind of shrugs.
Well, it is certainly less taxing on my end to speak to you in the flesh, rather than through our connection. And then she kind of like... She basically rolls her coils around herself and like slumps down like she's like taking a seat, on her coils, like a small cushion couch of herself. And she reaches to her like belt and opens the buckle and like takes the belt off. It's got her giant fucking magical sword sheathed in it, and she just props it up against the wall, and then she like pops a button on her armor and kind of like sags like So you first.
Do apologize about calling you here on such short notice. No, I guess it did us all some good.
You probably could have taken him, given a few more opportunities. He definitely would have had enough people to rip through before, probably could have overwhelmed him.
And
he didn't harm you too much, did he?
yeah, she kind of rolls her arm, definitely sore, and she's like, I'm still in one piece, thankfully.
Oh, good.
And about our promise.
Related question. Well, let's talk about that in a second. Related question. Did any of my former idiots here also harm you? Leave any holes in your hide?
She kind of smirks and says, they couldn't even touch me.
All right. Well, I did ask you to keep yourself safe. Thank you for that. Now you were saying about the visit.
You did say that I would keep myself in one piece before we met in person. Do you want to count this as that, or wait until a bit later?
No. If it is all right with you, June, not count this as our visit. I was rather hoping to, show you around more places that have better views than this. Better air, a lot less snakes.
Indeed.
I would prefer it, if you are still amicable to it. I would prefer that, let us talk about, this visit later. I've got a lot of shit on my mind. I know I'm not coming off very well this situation. But I'm really upset about this. I don't have tear ducts, but trust me, I'd be crying if I did.
I understand. Though it's
Look,
a bit complicated now that, obviously the rest of them have met you. But I just hope that we all can be on good terms.
perhaps we can do that. Since you're here actually now, that means that they didn't jump you for, and she kind of like gestures with her hand, like in between herself and June.
Surprisingly, they didn't.
That bodes well. My read on them in the research that the rather mercurial sort, especially the Conrasu and the Azaketi girl. She's definitely got a lot on her dish right now too.
I did want to thank you for that. I'm sure it meant a lot to her to get that information.
I hope that it gives her some sort of solace. What little I was able to about her doesn't really lend much. I know that she was orphaned at a young age, sort of communally cared for in runoff. But, well, I will leave it to her to explain her background if she has not done so already. However, that fish girl is prone to violence. She's also very smart, which makes her dangerous. But I think there may be something that I can do to keep her from jumping down your throat with guns. Originally, this cell was here to sort of like keep an eye on various interests that I have with Vault Chamomile. The Dark Elves, of course, are not friendly to the Serpent Folk. It's sort of a kill on sight kind of thing. But they're very good at staying out of sight, as you are aware. I ordered them to busy themselves while I was, sort of like figuring out what the fuck to do with you and your companions, by hunting down a old lead that I have that, it was another location that I was thinking of planting a cell. Now that they're all dead, it kind of doesn't matter, but the old lead that I had mentions that there may have also been some leftover valuables there, perhaps even magical items. Sort of a, hidden treasure trove kind of like deal. I was going to send them off on it. I really didn't care if they found it, but I believe the lead is solid. I could give it to you. You could give it to Miss Fino, and that'll give her sharp little mind some on as opposed to you.
Maybe. I guess what I did want I guess the main thing I did want to come here and ask you, though, is if we could count on your help with this situation with this green dragon. It, I don't want to impose, especially now when you have everything up to your scales, but your information could be helpful in that regard. I mean, you seem to know their name. We didn't even know that much.
Well, I'm not surprised, quite frankly. I literally had to kill to get just that information.
Well, I'm not one to shy away from getting my hands dirty myself, but if I could pass on that information from you to the rest of the party, then that would make things a little bit smoother for us, and in return, I could do favors for you as well. Be it espionage or more intimate matters. She kind of flashes a smirk at Umber.
Umber smirks back at the implication, and she kind of like straightens up a little bit so that she is kind of more or less standing again. So she's at her rather imposing, like basically 10-foot tall height, with another like feet of her all coiled around, as she just completely fills up this intersection of the hallway. And she says,
All right. Let us do this, June. Tell your companions that, assure them that, you are not spying on them. Frankly, any sort of benefit that might give me would be minuscule from all the information I've already collected on them. But I will keep that in mind that you offered, to scratch my back, so let me scratch yours first. The dragon. Try to remember all of this. You know what, actually, try to remember all of this, but I will also mail you a copy.
If anything, it doesn't have to be at this very moment. You can...
What's your email?
It doesn't have to be, like, she kind of waves around. It doesn't have to be at this...
it to you.
It doesn't have to be this
Well,
very moment, but we can keep in touch.
I would prefer that. Thank you. For now, just let them know that this dragon is called Soul Riot, and it is a male dragon, and it is quite ancient. It is, if the information I did kill to obtain for it is correct, and I reasonably believe it to be, that dragon is more ancient than the empire that you call home is.
All right,
So we're talking about a lizard probably 2,000 years old.
Her eyes kind of like visibly like go up, like Soul Riot.
And he has been a very, very busy little shit. I do not have confirmation of this. This part is speculation. But I believe that Soul Riot acts as a sort of chess master. He moves pieces on the board, and the board in this particular analogy is the entire world. He manipulates organizations and individuals. It is very likely that he has had a claw in starting multiple wars. And I believe, and again this is speculation, but I believe he may have also have had more than a single claw in helping the Chromium Expanse become the Chromium Expanse. He, I think, is behind all of the technological advancements of the Empire. I have no proof of this, but I have a lot of things that kind of point in that direction. Why? I don't know. For what goal? Who the fuck knows? Except possibly Soul Riot. But it's not good one way or the other. And he's had his claws in a whole shitload of cookie jars. So you're going to have to be careful as you move around. If you disturb his little playing pieces, he may do something about it. Him showing up in the flesh, though, to take... What did you say that it was? Some sort of like magical rings?
Indeed.
For him to do that in person means that he's probably ready to make a move. He is one of those kinds who stays in the shadows all the time. Everything is a cat's paw to him. You know, to manipulate one so that they manipulate another, so that they manipulate a number, like a goddamned game of dominoes. But for him to reach out, to actually show up on the board as an active piece means he's ready to make a big move. And that could be very bad for all of us. So keep an eye out. Keep an ear out, whatever you need to.
She nods and says, if we find anything important, I will pass it along immediately to you. And she kind of turns, to head back to the party, like, they don't get suspicious, and says, until we finally meet at the right time.
Until the right time, then.
And she
And
heads back.
continue, June, to keep yourself safe.
That was our promise. And she rounds the corner. What is the dog doing?
What is the dog doing?
Wait, who's that?
Probably so.
Why is there a... What's that over there?
That's Dr.
That's
Tremors.
that's Dr. Tremors until we have
We have a token, yeah.
icon for him.
Oh,
I
yeah.
tried changing the icon. Can you remove him? I'll try to add him back.
So what was everybody doing while June was talking to the big bad?
I'm probably explaining to. Here we go. It's all back.
Hey! Oh, it's
Hey, there he
adorable.
is.
Little trash panda. Or not trash panda.
Gremlin.
Trash gremlin. Yeah.
Tim had just when he popped open his thing. What's it called when you take a charcoal pencil and rub it against a sigil to make like a copy?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's...
I
Like
used
making...
to do
Yeah.
that with fucking leaves and shit in art class.
Mhm.
Yeah. Basically, he does that with the insignia that's on the inside of his metal arm plate.
Probably explaining the torque, like what.
Yeah, where you guys may be getting... Probably getting Torque out of here and
Callie
regrouping with the
explained-
rest.
Yeah, Callie explained to Torque, like, she's gonna go after the people who killed her parents.
Fuck.
Is it like a high pitched or more like a
Actually-
kind of like scrag like fuck, or is it more like
It's
like a...
probably like a. It's probably like a. Like how Callie would say the word fuck. He just repeats it. In her
Just repeats it
voice.
like a parrot? Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly like Callie's voice. Like, it is freakishly exact.
Well, if everybody's still in the room, June will kind of like kind of has a serious look on her face, but like she kind of waves like she's fine. She says, "Well, I have some good news. I talked with our Lamia host, and I have managed to negotiate a bit of a information exchange. We have a dragon problem, they have a dragon problem, so we are going to work together on this so we can get the rings back and save the town." Do you guys remember how long we had until things went to shit over there?
Yes. I remember seeing the dragon
What was that?
nearly dying. Sorry, It's my microphone.
No, you're good.
Yes, I remember the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I remember nearly dying and thinking that that was not my problem anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, may not be a problem for you, but it's a problem for everybody else living in that town. And we did make a promise to save it by getting those rings back. Now it's...
Promise? I didn't make no promise. Who's this we speak of? I wasn't there.
Callie wasn't there when it happened.
Yeah, she was there. Oh, no, she wasn't there. You're right.
Yeah, Callie was not there for that particular.
Callie be like, we speaking French? I wasn't there. No, we did no exchange for no promise.
But it's probably one of the stupidest things I've ever done to try and steal magic items from a dragon, but if it's the only way to save that town, then we have to at least try. So
Callie kind of like looks at her and is like, kind of like serious. Is like, currently I you know, like I would save a town, yes, if it was something in it for me, but currently my focus is on finding out more about my parents' killers.
Just to say more
I've
popularity
gone 14 years and I've never gotten the answer still.
and we have them now, thanks to, like, pointing at the pile of rubble, like the snake person there. And we can
Tort kicks one of his rubble bits away from her.
Bitch.
we can turn in that bounty on McLeach's boulder too. It's just that the deal I worked out is Umber will communicate to us through me, and likewise will communicate to her. I will communicate, pass along messages back and forth, and if they find anything important, she will let us know, and if we find anything important, we will let her know. And hopefully, if we're lucky, we can find this dragon. Damn it! It was Soul Riot. She was the one that she was the one that told us its name. So at least we have a clue on that. Whether or not we can actually
Is that
get.
how that's spelled?
Yeah, Soul Riot. Is it Fuzzy?
Yes, so right is correct.
Okay. Is it
And-
spelled like
and-
O-U-L?
And now that it was spelled soul like coal, but with an S, and then riot.
Okay, cool. So that at least gives us a lead of at least where to look. You know, if I'm not saying that we're gonna be heroes and rescue this town and, you know, be paraded down the streets as heroes, but if anything, I want to at least try. Because from what it sounded like, if that whatever mechanism or thing, they call it a thing, isn't put back in one piece, it might not just be bad for the town, but maybe everywhere else too. Anybody say anything? Or
Tort
Just the
Tort
still
kinda
silence.
looks,
It's like
Tort looks kind of like back and forth between Callie and June for a moment, and then she looks at June and she's like, they pretty much filled me in on what's been going on and everything. This is the first time hearing about a dragon.
you didn't hear about the dragon that crashed a sky ship into what was the name again of the port city?
Went
she
first.
Torque like hooks a thumb at like Callie, and she says to hear her talk about it, she crashed a Zeppelin in Whitford.
Oh well,
After
first
we got
first the
attacked
dragon.
by a dragon.
Yeah, first the dragon
that
attacked it,
happened
and then it
afterward.
crashed.
I was
Okay.
having to fly a Zeppelin without any prior knowledge, and it wasn't intact. It was not intact.
Okay. Well,
And there was a giant robot wearing clothes, and it
Cal
was.
kind of like looks at her, is like, I can see why we would want to get involved with this dragon, but I mean, I am not prepared to die searching for that knowledge that we must obtain.
I'm not prepared to die either. I'm not saying we have to die. If things get too messy, then I don't know. It's something. I'm not
Sorry,
the
I'm
biggest
on
fan
fire.
of the Empire myself, but it's. Just don't think all those people should get caught up
Well,
in that.
my two coppers on this. Torque like chimes in. She says, if you've got the opportunity to, like save a town and I don't know, defeat a dragon, that's like hero shit. With like a capital H. And honestly, I support that kind of thing. I don't know where this is going to go, but hey, you know what? It's been a while since I've, done more than shopping trips out to Harlem.
June like
think I
says,
could-
June kind of like shakes her head, I don't want to get you involved in this. You've already been mixed in this more than enough.
That kind of means that I'm already involved. I mean, I understand. Really, I do, June, and I don't want to put myself in more danger than I have to be, but at the same time, I want to help you guys. You guys have been a huge help to me multiple times now, and like I was kind of making a joke about like how like my dad and the other cowpokes would look down on me, for getting my ass whipped and kidnapped and everything, but they would really look down on me if I was presented with the opportunity to make life better for others, and I didn't take it. And even if that just means that all I'm doing is supporting you guys, then, well, that's a good thing. And quite, to be perfectly honest, June, I don't think I'm going to let you like walk out. I would much rather be by your side than away from it.
Just kind of tears up a little bit.
So, that said, I do believe Callie here says that there's a big money reward on this ugly boulder if we take it to the Dark Elves. So, let's take this to the Dark Elves, get that big money reward. I need a bath terribly. There's a tavern there that's got a good like wash bath that I can use. I know it already. I would really appreciate going there now if we can. In the couple of minutes that you were talking to the big scary snake lady, I'm definitely weak, but I think I can walk at least to Vault Chamomile. So, and then she kind of like takes like a deep breath and puts on the normal like positive just beaming look that Torque normally displays, and kind of like, looks around at everybody, and she's like, "So, we ready to move? Because I can only fake this, I think, for maybe 2 rounds."
All right, let's get the hell out of
Kali's
here.
like, yeah, Kali's got her arms around Dr. Tremors.
Alrighty.
Him
So,
Let's get moving.
All right.
Probably
so
probably rescue Laria from being passed out.
Gloria is just like holding Laria, and more likely than not,
What happened to her?
Jamal has like
She
Jamal
got a
has-
fucking boot to the face, so she's like winded as shit.
I mean, yeah, she was trying to run away too. After
Yeah.
cross the
yeah she did get she
The
did
shit
get, like
literally
oh,
kicked out of her.
yeah she did get the shit literally kicked out of her, and Jamal, being Jamal, has like taken up a perch on Gloria's other shoulder, so Gloria is basically just like a wall. So yeah, she's holding Laria, and Jamal is like taking a perch on her shoulder, so she is all ready to go. So what we are going to do is we are going to theater of the mind this to over to Vault Chamomile, because I do not yet have a map for Vault Chamomile set up. Vault Chamomile is a cool location, and it is going to need a custom map, and I just simply have not had the time to do that. I have, however, written quite a lot of stuff, though, about Vault Chamomile and the Dark Elves that live inside of it, so that's what we're going to do. Essentially, as far as like actual travel time, it does take the party most of the rest of this day to get to the entrance, where the Mushroom Road ends, and you actually make it to Vault Chamomile. It takes the rest of the day.
Okay.
So as the party comes up to this section, what is presented to them as like the entrance is a absolute fortress wall. Like there's not like an open per se. Like you walk up to a wall and there is a huge ass fortress that is just built into the cave, and it has a big gate that is currently closed. There are multiple humanoids who are lining the walls. There, you can see multiple people moving behind the various like murder holes and arrow slots and all of that sort of stuff. They are ready to rain down absolute fuck on anything that gets in front of this thing that they don't like. But as you guys
pulled up in a tank.
Yeah, but as you guys do come up, one of the smaller like side doors to the main gates opens up, and out comes a like small brigade of soldiers who are all like heavily armed and armored, and there is one guy who's got like a pennant that is like coming off the back of his armor. He's got like a flagpole essentially like attached to the back of his being like flag that comes off. And as he comes out, he holds up his hand, like to in greeting, but also a like stop where you are kind of like hand motion. And he removes his plate helm and like moves it to tuck it onto his side and just hold it under his arm. And you guys can see a dark elf. Dark elves look like mostly regular elves, but their main difference with them is obviously, of course, they have a very, very dark color palette, except that they usually have like some sort of like bright colored hair. Their eyes are much larger than actual elves, and elves already have a larger than humans do eyes, and also they have bigger than human ears, and the dark elves have even bigger than them big ass ears, which are highly mobile. So like every time anybody makes a noise, his ears twitch and like tilt in that direction without him even having to move his head. But he holds his hand up, and as you guys get within a reasonable speaking distance, this guy speaks out and he says, "Welcome to Vault Chamomile. We are currently closed for general trade and other purposes. Do you have a specific reason to be here?
Callie like shouts out in Elven, Elven, we are here to collect a bounty and to do some light trading and probably stay for the night.
What bounty are you collecting on?
The McLeach, the poacher, whatever your word is for it in Elven.
Said in Elven.
Yeah.
Said in
Whatever.
Elven.
Yeah, whatever word you use in Elven for.
For this guy's name. Yeah.
So the dark elf soldier guy, kind of like, like cocks an eyebrow at you, and then he turns to one of the other soldiers. They have like a little quite conversation for like a second, and then the two of them plus one other dude come forward to meet the party, like face to face, and up close you can see that these guys are wearing full plate mail. They are armed, like the two guys in the back are armed with like spears, and they also have like funny curved swords as their sidearm of choice. They have shields over their backs. The whole, like, they are decked out for combat. The main guy has two swords. No spear, but he does have two swords. But he walks up. He's not pulling swords or anything like that. But he walks up and he says to Callie, and he continues to speak in common, but he says to Callie, your accent's actually pretty good. Do you have proof of obtaining the death warrant for the poacher, also known as McLeach?
Yes, we have proof. We have his severed, petrified head, but we also have was it a collar that was stamped?
Yeah, collar on.
And yeah, it was the collar of his dead, also dead, pet Joanna, as well as what was the thing that was stamped with all the Jotun or whatever?
It's a little metal tag like dog tag.
Oh yeah, as well as the metal dog tag with stamped with Jotun, a lot of Jotun on it.
He says, "I would like to see this petrified head."
Callie just pulls it out of Mr. Servos. It's the petrified head.
Well, he takes a look at it, and I'm going to ask Callie, what is Callie's diplomacy DC?
Shit, I should have done this.
Is it the one in the? Is it the number in the circle plus 10?
Yep.
That is correct. Yes.
Oh, well, then it's fucking 11.
Okay. All right.
God, I have a 12. It would have been 22. Fuck.
Okay. So.
We want a higher or lower diplomacy? That's like the.
But in this particular case, so that's Callie's DC. I've got this guy's DC. I need Callie to now roll diplomacy versus this guy's DC.
Well, anyway, it's over, guys.
Don't forget your point. Don't forget your point.
Are we gonna re-roll that? Are we really gonna re-roll it?
I mean, if you want to.
Oh, fine. It's not gonna be much better though, is it?
We never
Hey,
Better, but that's not great either.
that's better. So yeah, he takes a look at the petrified head. He very clearly does not want to touch it. But like he leans in close. He leans in close and he looks at the petrified head. He looks at the tag and the collar and all that sort of stuff. Turns back to the other guy. They speak in Undercommon. Does anybody know Undercommon?
Shit.
I was gonna take that.
I'm learning it. I got the scrolls and shit for it, but I've still not taken downtime to learn the language yet.
Okay, so
How he just starts like
Opening the book,
flipping,
just
flipping through the
English,
pages of like the
comment
undercommon dictionary.
to
She's like, okay,
undercommon.
we gotta catch some of these words real quick.
Catch a little bit.
all right, so they have a very cool conversation. And then he turns back and he's like, "How was the head petrified?"
I cut it off with a petrifying sword.
I'm gonna need I'm gonna need to know what Callie deception is.
Oh, that's much better.
That is a lot. That is actually, in fact, a lot better.
I was gonna say Callie's is probably fantastic.
Hey, let's fucking go.
With a nat 20, let's go.
All right. Well,
Lied
it's
as
versus,
easily as
it's
she
versus
breathed.
yeah, it's versus her DC, which is a DC 18. All right, so he makes his check versus the DC 18. Well, he rolled a 2. So, like, he looks at that and just like, okay, that's weird, but seems legit.
Makes sense.
And he looks at Callie and to her, and he's saying he is against being this. But he says to you will need to take this to the administrative quarter in order to get compensation for the bounty. You and your companions are allowed to enter into Vault Chamomile. However, you need to know that weapons are not allowed within the actual city limits. While you are in the vault, in the wilds, you may carry whatever you please. But once you get to the actual city limits, there is a inn where you may stop and put any sort of large weapons into a locked storage bin. If you commit any crimes while you are in the city, we punish those with imprisonment. However, if you are particularly violent, we will meet you in kind. And then he just kind of like gestures back at like the absolute fortress filled with like armed soldiers to the teeth. That is not tolerated. And then he kind of like looks at the party in general, and then he says, also just as a personal note, Ysidris is a cock. And then he squints like at all of you.
What did you?
What is he? What is he?
Like,
I
confused?
just kind of like give like the whole like the Dwayne the Rock Johnson kind of like eye raise, like what?
Okay.
Like confused,
Yeah.
confusion.
All right, you passed the sniff test that you're not disguised snake people.
Oh.
Oh
Tim-
yeah. Oh yeah. Ysidris. Yeah. The
Tim
video.
looks at the
He
people
looks
and the
at-
rest of the
He
group.
looks at him. He's like, man, Ysidris is a bitch, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Tim just goes, forsooth.
Forsooth you.
Well then,
We have
so
one.
You have passed the bare minimum. So he turns around. He yells out in Elven that the group is allowed to pass. There is a loud banging as the multiple locks and blockades open up to open the gates and let y'all into actual Vault Chamomile. So, as the party enters into Vault Chamomile, let me tell you that you are currently 6 miles underground, and you are at the top of Vault Chamomile. Physically, Vault Chamomile is an oval-shaped void that is roughly 12 miles tall, and you are at the very top of it. At its widest point, as you guys come out to like, you know, the balcony to like look down to like see the spiraling zigzaggy path that goes. At its widest point, it's about 5 miles across. You could take all of like the entire town of Whitford and just drop it down the middle of this hole. Sides. Unfortunately, though, for Whitford and for Vault Chamomile, if you were to do that, there are multiple bridges which span across this this void. They form kind of like a very sort of lattice kind of like network sort of thing. And in the very middle of this, you can see a giant piece of rock, essentially like an island, that does have islands connected to it, but is otherwise just floating in the middle of the void. And on top of this big ass island, there is another floating rock that is emitting a shitload of light. It is as bright as day in here. But as you are watching, there is a cowl that goes around this big glowing rock that is slowly rotating. So to your left, there is sundown happening, and to your right, you can see little points of light that are shooting out of holes in this cowl that are creating stars on the wall as like nighttime is physically rolling to Vault Chamomile.
Strange.
So from here, it is extremely easy from with Gloria and Torque for them to direct you guys down the extremely easy to follow path till you find the tavern that they were speaking about before. The tavern, which has a sign out that is done up in multiple languages, like the one that y'all saw in the back in the caves on the road a couple of days ago. You can see that it says that it is Gargoyle Tavern and Inn. Everyone welcome, except and there's a small little like down at the bottom, it's like everyone except serpent folk and mycelioids.
Mycelioids.
Shit.
Those are the mushroom people.
Oh shit.
So,
Laria's got to stay outside.
damn. Prejudice?
We don't serve those kind. We don't serve their kind here.
We don't serve those
Fantasy
mushrooms.
Fantasy racism.
I love it. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, but anyways, there, just to note, there are a bunch of other like smaller caves and whatnot that branch off of the vault. Most of which, as you're passing by, as you're going down the path, it's quite easy to see that these go into smaller sections that are places where they have fields of plants, where they have pens with livestock in them of like all kinds of sorts and varieties. They have a sort of like something that looks like a cow down here, except it is very small, it's very furry, and it has 3 horns. But otherwise, it looks like a freaking cow. They've got one of those, they've of those, honestly. And also there seems to be stuff like that goes off into these other little side caves. But either way, the Roosting Gargoyle Tavern itself, though, is a rather large. It honestly looks like it could, like exist anywhere on the surface, and it wouldn't, like raise an eyebrow down here, or raise an eyebrow up there. It honestly looks like a surface building that has just teleported down here into this hole in the ground that's fucking 6 miles below the surface. There is music coming from the building as you guys come up. It's rather lively. And as you are approaching the door, music gets much louder, and out stumbles a very, very lizard guy, actually. He is not a snake man. He looks he actually looks like a lizard folk, like you would see up on the surface, except that he is completely pale white all over. His eyes are all like pale white, except for like where they're bloodshot around the like rims, and he is wobbling drunkenly as you guys to the door, and he kind of like blearily turns his head, and he gurgles something in the same language you've heard from the Combolds and stuff like that, and then he like stumbles forward 2 more steps, and then he just collapses on the ground and starts to snore.
I would say Dr. Tremors go check his pockets, but he's probably got no money left, so
that, and it's hard to tell honestly if he might be naked.
well, anyway, that was weird.
So, inside the roosting, you guys have a big, boisterous bar scene going on. There are multiple tables which are set out. Most of them actually are filled up with people. There is a long bar that has 3 different bartenders that are serving up drinks. There is a stage off to the side that has multiple musicians who are all just like fucking jamming out. And it is a wild time. As a matter of fact, at one of the tables, they have a roulette wheel and cards set up. And there is
shit.
and there is next to the dealer, who is also a dark elf gentleman. Next to the dealer, there is a pile of clothes that look like they're fit for a lizard person. That are just folded up with like some chips set on top of it, of like gambling chips, like set on top of it, like it's part of the winnings.
Oh no.
Well, that was his
I guess they
fault.
take strip poker literally here.
But yeah, he is shuffling cards as you guys come in, starts dealing them out to the other people at the table, and a dark elf woman comes up and to you guys and greets you, and she says, "Welcome to the Roosting Gargoyle. You guys look like you're not from around here. Surface folk?" And she is speaking in common, by the way.
Quite.
That obvious?
Well,
you could say that.
Yeah, you could say that.
Well, I'm going ahead and let you know that we are all out of surface beef. So if you were looking for surface beef, we don't have any of that, I'm sorry to say. We're not going to get another shipment of that for probably a couple of days. If you're fine with something other than surface beef, we can serve you food. We can serve you drinks. As you can see, we've got some tables. We've got live entertainment. If we push a couple of tables around, you can dance if you want to. And of course, we do also rent inns. Or, well, this isn't in. We rent rooms, is what I meant to say. Do you
Been a
guys
long day.
need a room? Well, yeah, it has. Do you guys need a room, or do you just what's up? What can I do for you?
Do you have a room for our friend that can fit our friend here? Like kind of gesturing to Gloria, if if she's even inside with us, or she kind of like leaning into.
Gloria's huddling at the door, kind of like looking in, and the dark elf lady looks over at Gloria, and she's like, "Oh, you guys have a troll with you? Yeah, actually, we do have a room set for larger individuals. Currently, it is unoccupied, so lucky you."
Do you guys have stables?
Well, that depends. What are you stabling?
A giant mech.
Like one of those things the Morlocks build?
But maybe a little bit bigger than that. Maybe a little bit smaller. How big are those usually, typically?
Like half the size of a house?
Oh well, no, it's smaller than that then.
Oh, okay. Well, then yeah, sure. We've got a. Oh, I assume that when you guys pass the garrison up front, they let you know that once you pass here and you're actually in the city, you can't carry weapons, right?
Yes, they explained that you had lockers.
Yes, we do have locked metal lockers that you can keep your larger, more dangerous items in. We do keep a extra key here on the here at the tavern. There is an additional copy of that key located over in the section of the city where, just in case, should that key get lost, there's that copy that can be pulled. But yes, we do require that you put your larger weapons in there. You can keep like small knives and things like that on you. That, not a problem. We do ask that you piece tie it, but we're not usually a stickler that bad for it. Although I'm going to assume that violence is strictly a no-no down here, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, cool. All right, so since we're all on the same page,
And then,
you around
Dr. Tremor's
to-
kind of like mimics back violence, violence, violence in her voice.
That's creepy.
Oh,
That's
oh,
creepy.
don't mind him. Don't mind him. Do you,
She's even creepier.
do you have like food for my little friend here? She
You
will,
accommodate
Uh,
pets.
yeah, what's your
the-
pet
the-
policy here?
Well, if you've got like, okay, you guys saw the aurochs outside, right? If you got something that big, I'm afraid it's going to have to stay outside. If it's smaller than that, like if you've got an emotional support
Yes.
creature, then yeah, sure, whatever. Well, I mean, I'm not going to clean the shit up if it like shits on the floor. You're going to have to do that. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Also, if you shit in the floor, you're cleaning that up. You got that right?
How often does that happen?
I like
How
this
More
one.
often than I'd like to
Yeah.
think.
Hmm. Can Tim do a check for other automatons or just any other robotic individuals?
I mean, yeah, sure. If you want to do a perception check to get of what's in here, background wise.
Probably gonna be like mostly dark elves, I'd imagine.
Without a check at all,
Well,
it's mostly dark elves.
Do I want to hero point that?
Yeah, it's mostly dark elves.
Yeah. Again, and that one doesn't mean like instant failure. It's just really low.
Yeah, it's low, and
Yeah.
it's not like a critical fail or anything like that.
If there was one here,
Um,
I would probably see it.
Yeah, if there is
Well,
one here,
I mean, yeah,
they're
it
not
probably-
obvious about it.
Sticks
Yeah,
out
it-
like a sore thumb. kind of thing.
yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
like,
So either way, Tim, no, you don't spot any other automatons. Just so that you guys know, besides dark elves, a couple of people that do stick out is there's a couple more of those lizard guys that look kind of like the one who drunkenly, nakedly stumbled out on for coming up to the door. There are also a couple of what look like, honestly, they look like dwarves, but they are very pale, and like the lizard people, they don't have like pupils in their eyes. It's just like a white orb that's going on in there.
Oh.
But they are like very jovial, like having like a good time, just like everybody else down here. There's a couple of them that are like, vaguely singing along, slightly out of tune with the music that's going on. But besides the guys who are probably some sort of dwarf, the lizard guys that are down here, the mini dark elves, there are also a couple of just regular bog standard humans down here. Like, June's not the only human down.
My God.
More or
Yeah.
less.
Other humans, and they are
Other humans.
and they are dressed in imperial style clothing. But they are otherwise also just hanging out, having
like,
food, all that sort of stuff.
asks the woman, "Can you point me in the direction of where the market is?"
Sure can.
Go back.
Let
Gotta
me-
get my dog.
Let me get you guys set up with rooms and all that sort of stuff, and I can give you like a little map.
Oh, yeah, by the way, like points to Jamal. He's not a pet. He's one of us. He just looks like that.
Okay. All right.
He's just built different.
Okay. So, emotional support pet wears clothing. Gotcha. So yeah, what over the next like couple of minutes, essentially, she walks you through like what they've got, on tap and can serve you for food. She shows you where the lockers are and what the procedure and everything for like putting stuff in and getting stuff out is. And then she does provide Callie with a like roughly the size of a postcard little map of the city part of the vault. The city is essentially a ring that goes around the middle part of the vault, and encompasses the bridges, the little floaty island out in the middle, and all that sort of stuff. All that part is the city, and there is a section of the city which very roughly speaking, is a quarter of that circle that is marked down as like government administrative area. It also has like a little note on there that says like this is also where like the moneylenders and the
loan
jail,
sharks.
the jail and all that sort of like that's where that
Happy.
section. The market specifically is called the Terraced Market, and it is down towards the bottom level of the city.
Damn it.
Interesting. Okay.
Damn.
So,
Can I ask for a map too?
and Torque does say that she would be more to get a room with June.
Please.
She also
Oh, was that?
hostess. She does specifically ask the hostess, "Hey, where are the baths? And do you guys have soap, like a lot of soap?"
An unbelievably
And-
large amount of soap.
Yeah. So the speaking thereof, the tavern has a large communal bathing area. They do have like a like a big folding wall thing that like splits it in half, where you've got like here's like the men's side and here's like the women's side kind of like thing. But they've got a bath that's like steaming and hot and all that sort of. It's like the size of a fucking like swimming pool. But yeah, they've got all of that ready and done out, and like as soon as she like show you guys where it is, like Torque's eyes just like light up to the point where she's like about to drool. She's like,
Speaking
I
of,
gotta
Callie
get clean.
probably needs a bath. It's probably still
I think
pretty
we all need a
dirty from
bath.
getting covered head to toe in blood.
Yeah, I imagine like like the majority of it is kind of dried and flicked
It's
off.
gone.
But like, yeah, we're still.
I mean, I would imagine, yeah, because like the inside of.
I kind of
Mr.
forgot. Like we're
Servo is-
but, like Callie and me, like we're covered in blood.
Oh, it's not just Allie. I think I got some on me as well.
Oh yeah, like everybody is some level of filthy. So like yeah, she points out where all
yeah.
relax and do all that sort of stuff, and you'll be able to the next day go to the marketplace. So since unfortunately we have a because I have to go do important adult stuff very early in the morning tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and reached Vault Chamomile and is at the tavern where they can get themselves together before they go like actually like talk to important people who could shoot you guys in the face if they fucking wanted to.
No jokes on them. Hidden gun.
So yeah, either way, this is where we're going to call
Really
have me
quick.
for the short session. Yes.
Before we close it, what did Gloria say?
Well,
We gotta know.
does Tim want to bunk with like people?
If she's cool with it, absolutely. Tim doesn't sleep very much, so he's
sure.
just gonna be up.
They
kinda-
will be. They do be bunking.
They do be bunking.
Then Gloria would. She gets lonely.
Of course.
Mm. just like imagine her like hugging Tim like a teddy bear. Just hear like the soda can crushing sound.
100%.
Yeah, like
Tim loves
yeah, like she's
every
like,
moment.
Based.
she's reaching down like hand and like you hear the cans crushing
Have you
noise,
lost medicated
and she like squeezes.
At
My
Health
beautiful
Um,
lady.
Yeah,
Four out of
Callie might
five.
have to
Also-
sleep out in the stables, and Mr. Service might be a fucking loud ass night.
Well, it's hard to tell with this tavern, but it's probably going to be loud. Actually, the actual rooms themselves are set into essentially the building just like flows back into like a cave that's been hollowed out, shaped into these various rooms. So it's pretty quiet back there. And the stable, which is like the side of the building, is also generally fairly distant from the racket of the main room. So it's relatively quiet there.
Might have
But
to just rest
obviously it's not private. But yeah, you could just crash inside of this.
Sleeping face first, like a corpse. Foot in
Callie
the water.
100. For some reason in my head, I see it as Callie like the chair that has the cast in Mr. Servo. So she just pulls over, leans all the way back like a gaming chair, and then just out. Punk.
Yeah, she just kind of like
Just fuck-
lays there.
Oh.
She just kind of floats
fucking
in
hell.
Mr. Servo's. He's a bit smaller now and more cramped, but like she still could just like rest at him and sleep in the water section.
Well, if Laria is still sleeping, where did they put her?
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, Laria, like, are we just like sneaking her? Are we like sneaking her in?
Putting her in the thing.
Because
Put her in a book.
Laria
Oh,
has
okay,
to sleep
well-
for 8 hours.
Okay, well, here, Laria's out cold. You know that they have a sign out that says no mycelial. Now, technically speaking, as just a game thing, Laria is a fungus creature. The mycelioids are also fungus creatures, but they are a completely like species.
Okay, they're separate. They're separate. Okay.
Damn, I can't
Yeah.
believe we made a racism against Laria.
Yeah,
All
so-
mushroom people are the same.
Yeah, so and the dark elves do make a point difference. Those guys, fuck them. Other mushroom people that want to like show up and not eat us,
Yeah.
cool.
It's kind of like the two different versions of orcs in D&D. There's the ones that are like kind of jerks, but all right, and then there are ones that are just like total a-holes that like everyone was like kill on sight.
Yeah, the alien orcs are the ones that are the complete a-holes. But yeah, Laria. Well, honestly, Laria will need to be placed outside because she feeds through her feet and she eats dirt and stuff.
Callie
So
just like pulls out like a pot and some dirt and
I
just
do know
sticks her
she's
in
in the
it.
dark. It also works too, but I know there's light in that area, so I don't know if that helps her.
Damn, imagine
Yeah, I mean,
imagine Laria gets
there
like a
is-
power boost for being underground.
there is the fact that she is essentially like a earth creature. This is basically her habitat. The thing that is funny here is I wasn't actually sure how theoretically this might interact with Oracle stuff, since she is a Oracle of stars, and she clearly is unable to reach the stars by any casual fucking means right now. So it's entirely possible, Laria, that while you are out, you might have some weird dreams.
I was about to talk to you about that.
But yeah, which you know what, I will write something up for that, and I will DM it to you, and you can share that if you choose. But yeah,
Prophecy.
otherwise though, Laria gets set up either in a pot or outside somewhere, where she can get nutrition, and
Where
the rest
is
of and
Callie
everyone else is
sleeping?
otherwise set up with a. Where is Callie?
Yeah, where's-
sleeping?
where
Is Callie going to
Callie
stay in the inn or in the stable?
She's gonna sleep inside Mr. Servos with Dr. Tremors in the stable.
Okay. All right.
Well,
So
it's not as nearly as
I
you
was,
find
I
it.
was gonna say like Laria would probably be near her, but inside a pot.
It's just, yeah, it's in a pie. Yeah.
Mushroom
okay,
and
so
feast.
Laria, so
Feast the
Laria's
phrase.
potted.
It's not
so
near,
Laria's
it's not
a
nearly as
potted
weird when you
plant in
find
the
out that
corner.
Callie just prefers to sleep in a giant vat of water, and like Mr.
Kind of
Servos
hard
is
to
like,
carry that around.
Yeah,
Oh.
she doesn't like. She doesn't
Since
prefer beds. She doesn't like beds. She finds them
Now I'm wondering if Callie has like
uncomfortable.
a like a fish filter in there too.
But- well, that's also why Callie is the help.
Mhm.
Keeps her hydrated, because if for some reason she didn't have that and went more than 24 hours getting completely immersed in water, she'd start to like die.
Fish eczema. Yeah.
Yeah, fish eczema.
Thanks.
Yeah. But yes, otherwise though, everything is stable up. Everything gets set up, and we will pick up from here next session.
Yay.
As
Sleep with my big wife.
now next, we actually
Playing
have one extra Saturday. Next Saturday, the 23rd, I cannot be called in for work, so we are good there.
Okay.
The 30th, however, they've already told me that because of like the accident and everything like that, they're going to need somebody to cover on the 30th. So the 30th, we will not be having a session.
All right. So next week, yes. The following week after, no.
Yep, that is correct.
Okay.
Okay, so again, everyone, thank you for putting up my bullshit and everything, and talk to you guys later, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. Take
All
care,
right,
Fuzzy.
you get
Thank
some rest, Fuzzbutt.
Get some rest.
I am going to.
You need some rest.
And
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.
Say
bye,
that.
Fuzzy.
Bye, Fuzzy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Fuzzy.
Bye.
I'm sorry if I'm sorry guys if I was, oh, they already left. Yeah, I'll just say sorry if the talking stuff just took a lot, but
no, it's fine.
yeah. I think it worked out though. I think it was a good session. This was a good little bite-sized 20th session.
Yeah.
The 25th session, that's going to be the doozy. All right.
Probably.
Take care. Pineapple.
See ya, June.
All right. And this is normally where I say I'd go raid somebody, but actually I'm going to instead take a quick break. I am going to end the stream here, and let's say in 45 minutes from now I will start up for some Fortnite. But this is where the stream itself for Pathfinder Halfus is going to end. Thank you everybody so much for watching, whether you're watching on Twitch or the YouTube VOD. And again, just a props to our GM and our other players. I'm sad that Jay, the chill owner, wasn't able to make it. Jamal is missed, but try to bring him up. But take care everybody. I will see you all in just under an hour. Bye bye.